Marcus Beer right in the center of PAX. Me is Kyle Bosman, by the way, in case it's just a weird introduction. Anyway, we're doing GT Combo again.
Yeah.
We're crossing worlds.
We did the very first one.
And now we're doing this very second one. Basically today, we are so close to next gen. Next gen is nearly upon us.
You can smell it. You can smell the next gen.
And I wanted to talk about it with you, Marcus Beer.
Okay, Kyle Bosman, talk about it with me, Marcus Beer.
So, like, how
you can just use my first name if that's all right.
Sure, Marcus.
Thank you.
How excited are you about next gen?
Kinda?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously here at PAX we're seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, Titanfall's getting some heavy play, Rise is getting some heavy play, Second Son, Forza. There's a lot of stuff, and obviously the third-party stuff is grabbing me more than first-party right now. As much as I like Clank, what's it called again?
It's called Knack.
Knack. Yeah, there you go. I will play that game, and I'll still forget the freaking title. But yeah, it's the third-party stuff that I'm interested in seeing. I want to see how Assassin's Creed 4 plays on the PS4 and how Watch Dogs plays on PS1 and Xbox One, and Wii U.
What about Wii U?
Isn't that next gen?
Wii U is next gen, yes.
Okay.
It's a whole new generation of a video game console.
Yeah.
But
how about you? Are you excited?
I'm extremely excited about next gen, and not for, basically for the opposite reasons. Like I'm not excited about next gen for Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed. I guess, I don't know, part of me just loves that new console feeling.
Look, the new console smell is fantastic, and I think it's one of those things that every console launch, we had it with the Xbox 360, we had it with the PS3. There's going to be some glitches. Some of the games that come out the first couple of months won't really hit the heights. I mean, Mark Cerny has said it's going to take 3 years for people to master the PS4.
Yeah.
Which gives you some example of how long the next generation is going to be. And don't get me wrong, do I want nice new shiny things? Yes, I want both consoles, and I want to play, and I want to try the new controller and the online features, and stream pictures of me sucking at video games directly to the internet. But I think I will be more excited come, I don't know, PAX East next March. Mm-hmm. Because that's when I think we'll be rolling in to some really juicy stuff at E3, and next Christmas I think that's when it's really going to hit home. Me being the eternal pessimist, unfortunately, I'm just a little, my whelm is still undered.
So I kind of I hear that a lot. I hear people say, "Oh, I wish there were better games next gen. The launch lineups are pretty weak." I think historically speaking, they're pretty solid launch lineups.
I didn't say they were weak. There's nothing really that's grabbing me by the nuts.
I guess that's it, yeah. And they're missing that one that's, I need the PS4 to play this.
Yeah, because you remember, I mean, what did the first Xbox have?
First Xbox had Halo, which is exactly, yeah.
And there's been always one standout first party game, and I'm just not feeling that yet. I mean, maybe I am, Rise, I'm still suffering from that E3 demo disaster.
Is that better, by the way? Is that better here? I heard they've changed their combat.
They're showing less of the whole quick timey stuff because they realized that was a total screw up. But Rise, Killer Instinct, they're not really grabbing me by the nuts. I mean, neither is pretty much the PlayStation launch lineup. I don't think there's anything that would be considered perhaps Game of the Year material, which is disappointing, but understandable, considering that, again, new generation, people are going to take a while to get used to it, even though this time it is a bona fide, both of them are bona fide fucking PCs in a box.
Yeah, I guess the weird thing is that this generation took so long to end, and for the last 2 years, we've kind of been assuming, there's going to be some great next gen. They're working on next gen, and then I don't know if that has really happened yet.
You summed it up with Microsoft in particular, and I don't want to be continually harping on Microsoft, but for the last 2 years, they've done bugger all. Yeah. I mean, really, they've been focusing on Kinect, and we've had all the wafty games, and we've had a Gears of War game that was and we had another driving game, and there's nothing really that's been, hey, at least Sony on the first party stuff over the last couple of years have delivered some consistently good stuff. Most of it from Naughty Dog. But you've got to wonder what Microsoft have been up to. Maybe they spent all that time figuring out the Xbox One features, and then they spent all that time reversing the Xbox One features. They forgot to actually make some games. But when you're more excited about third party than first party at a console launch, it's a little disconcerting.
Yeah. At the same time, Dreamcast had like Soul Calibur, you know, and it's like, oh, this game's great. So it happens sometimes. SSX for PlayStation 2, that was great. So I don't have a problem, I guess.
Not first party though.
That's what I mean. Those were both third-party games.
They were both third-party games.
So I think it can be that. But like, I think it's less exciting. Just Watch Dogs is on everything. It's also on the consoles you have now.
Yeah, I think I could probably play Watch Dogs on my iPhone.
Yeah.
Actually, I can. There's an app for it. Yeah.
Text your friends.
But yeah, I mean, look, and we could talk about the games that are absolutely everywhere. I just think it's been interesting when they're showing off the next gen versions of some of these third-party games. Mm-hmm. They look like perhaps what we'd expect to see from some of the first-party guys. But that's what it makes it easier for the consumer this year because you can buy one or the other, really have the the access to the third-party games. And because first party isn't really that strong, you can get the other one next year as it's starting to ramp up. So it's really maybe a win-win for the consumer in that you're just getting the next generation of Ubisoft and EA and Activision games. And then next year you actually can go and get some first party stuff you like.
Yeah, that is what is probably going to happen. I mean, it's still a good year for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 is the weird thing. It's a great year for those consoles. It is. You got Batman coming out. You have all those games.
It's the games that are coming. It's the games that are coming out on the PS4 and the 360 that also come, and the Xbox One and the PS3. I mean, they're coming out across all formats. So yes, there's a very strong third-party lineup.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what the first parties are delivering this holiday season on the older consoles, not much again.
Yeah. David Cage's game, what is it called? Beyond Two Souls, I think is the only... no. Gran Turismo 6 is coming, and I think that kind of negates that. Gran Turismo 6 is going to be huge for Sony, and that game's probably going to sell another 10 million copies.
What else you got?
Then Beyond Two Souls. Like, those two games alone, that's a lot of like, hey, this is on our old console, this is our old thing.
And look, I've been ragging on David Cage.
Ratchet and Clank. They're doing that on PS3 too.
I've been ragging on David Cage for a while. I'm going to take a break from doing that. I'm going to go into Beyond Two Souls with an open mind. Is it one that's sort of like screaming at me the way The Last of Us did? No, it isn't, but I want to give it a try. But I still don't think that there is anything earth-shatteringly outstanding from either first party this holiday season.
Yeah. Coming to think of it, like, I bet Ratchet and Clank is going to be a better game than NAC.
Look, I want.
I bet that one's actually going to be better than the other one.
I want a really good Ratchet and Clank game. I mean,
I think you're going to get it. I think that's going to come out this fall for $40, and it's going to be ignored because this next gen is upon us.
Yeah, Future Tools is still one of my favorite Ratchet and Clank games.
Which one is that?
Future Tools of Destruction.
Oh, it's just Tools of Destruction. Ratchet and Clank Tools of...
no, it was Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction. Grammar, ladies and gentlemen. I know good at it. Well, all right, so while we're talking about next gen, or the next generation that's beyond the last gen, we do have to talk about Nintendo.
Sure.
They do have the price drop. Too little, too late?
No way. Oh, I think it's going to be a big fall for them.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to buy that combo that's $300 with Wind Waker attached to it.
And there's another one that's Nintendo Land as well.
That one's gone.
That one's gone already?
They're going to do Wind Waker.
Oh, I thought they had a couple of different ones.
They might do that. You're right. They might do Nintendo Land still, but who's going to buy that instead of this Wind Waker combo? Who's going to do that?
People who've never played Zelda. Because look, you got to remember, I think the people who bought the Wii U when it first came out were the Zelda fans, were the Mario fans. They're the ones who bought it and are just itching to go out and get that game to put on their system. I think there's going to be the people who will buy it this year are the ones who are like, all right, well, I see the PlayStation is $400. I see the Xbox One is $500. This one's $300. Little Jimmy, you're getting this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the level that you'll be looking at. And I don't think that those people will necessarily know the difference between Nintendo Land, Super Mario Brothers 3.5, Zelda, Metroid, or just Spank 6.
I don't know. I think that Zelda fans aren't necessarily Zelda fans anymore. I think a lot of people didn't buy Skyward Sword. I think that a lot of Zelda fans aren't blindly associated with the brand. I think a lot of those people would buy a Wii U.
I think a lot of those people did buy Skyward Sword and were very upset that they bought Skyward Sword. It sold very well. It did sell very, very well. I think, and not again totally to rag on Nintendo all the time, but it's the games that they need to support the people who've already got the Wii U, because people have bought the Wii U and Nintendo's like, yeah, you got our money now, and then the Wii U just gathers dust. I mean, it did for me. I mean, I think the last thing I played on it was Lego City Undercover.
Oh man, and that game is
I like the Lego games every now and again, especially when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Pikmin is fine. Is finally here. But the new Zelda is coming. But the fact that it's 12 months after the fact, and Nintendo didn't really have any opportunity to waste their opportunity, if you will. They had 12 months on everybody else. And now the new shinies are coming in. Hardcore gamers are going to go that way. And Nintendo, they've used up a lot of goodwill with their fan base. And a lot of people are getting sick of defending Reggie and some of the antics. And now there's the 2DS. The 2DS, ladies and gentlemen, the Game & Watch of the next generation. Which is, again, it's a smart business decision from them because they stripped down, no 3D, $129. You said it yourself, it's a Pokemon moneymaker.
Yeah, it's indestructible. It's for kids. That thing is for kids. It's a console for kids.
Let's see how indestructible it is. It is cheap, it is cheerful, but it's still, it's not new. I mean, it's the 2D version of the 3DS.
So I think I'll make a stance. I'll say with the Wii U, I think, let's say Metacritic-wise, I think first party will be higher than first party of those other two consoles we were talking about, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. I think there are going to be better games to play on your Wii U this fall than on those two consoles.
All right, so I mean, let's face it, you're kind of quoting the obvious here, Carl, because third-party support for the Wii U is kind of dying, if not dead.
Yeah.
So Nintendo only has first party because they haven't really supported the third party with the ads and with the marketing push. And really, it does. If you produce a game for the Wii U that is not easy to program for, as Ubisoft said, they had Zombie U, one of the best games on the Wii U, and Ubisoft said, look, we can't do it again because we didn't make a profit on it.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time, and they've made it so difficult for themselves. So yeah, of course their first party is going to be higher because there's fuck all else.
Yeah.
What else is there?
I don't. There's Wonderful 101 if we count that. I guess not. That's published by Nintendo as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Bayonetta 2. That's going to be
Nintendo,
first party. So yeah, they'll have a strong first party, and more power to them. And like I said, I hope that I just wish that they'd been doing this for the last 12 months. Having that strong first party time after time, and then getting out the third party support, because nobody wants to see Nintendo fail, because they do have a very special place, even in my black tiny heart. They do have a special place. It's just they've just pissed away the love.
I think they still got it.
The innocence of youth.
So let's say PS4, Xbox One both sell out this fall. Do you think that's likely?
Oh, I think it's very likely. I mean, Microsoft have trimmed down the amount of regions they're releasing in, so they can overload the retail channel. They're probably now going to go at least a week before Sony, and then but Sony is then going much wider. I think 33 territories.
Wait, you think they're going to launch before Sony?
I think they're going to launch a week before.
I think there's no chance of that. You heard it here. Bet placed.
And I'm thinking, look, and I made the crack on Invisible Walls a couple of weeks ago. They actually need to launch 2 weeks before, so you can do all the updating and all the fixing and everything. So by the time the PS4 launches, you can play your Xbox One.
Yeah.
But no, I think they'll go at least a week before. I think they've got so many things still in the negative column with regards to Connect and the price and all this other stuff. They've made a lot of positive changes. They have listened to people who aren't quite ready to be forced, kicking and screaming into a world that they can't really, be part of and enjoy properly. So kudos to them for that. Price is still an issue. Connectless Xbox One, I think, would do a lot better. So they've got to take advantage. They've got to do that first hype of, we're first to market. And then, because Sony have already, they've said when they're coming out.
What's interesting is, I think they know that we're not hyped on these launch titles. I think that's why Titanfall is getting so much coverage. Titanfall, this game that probably won't come out for another year, is getting huge hype. Because I think,
it's pretty much all they've got, and I find it interesting that Destiny's been a little quiet.
Destiny's very quiet.
Yeah, because that's more the one that's perceived on the PS4 now, because Activision have cited, they've got Call of Duty on Xbox and Destiny on that one. So that's the one I'm really wondering, because I mean, Bungie they're a smart bunch of people there. Let's see what Bungie and what they have to unleash and when they unleash it, because I think that's going to be the interesting battle of next year. Titanfall versus Destiny.
That's going to be crazy, you're right.
Yeah.
They're very different games, but in the same way, they're very similar.
Yes. Different but similar. That makes sense.
Okay, so we know how excited you are about next gen. Where would you rank it as prior next gens? Do you remember how excited you were about this Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3?
I was actually, I was actually very excited for the original Xbox because I liked what they were doing. It felt more like, more like a PC to me.
Yeah.
Xbox 360 was enough of a leap forward, and ditto PS3, enough of a leap forward. But PS3 came, for me, it came into my heart about 2 years into the cycle, when the really good games started coming through. I don't think the launch lineup, for the first 2 years was any good.
It was gross.
Whereas Xbox really, they kind of nailed it. This is probably the 350th console generation I've been through. Because, well,
Sure,
yeah, if you think about it.
Oh.
Master System, Genesis, Super NES, 3DO, Jaguar, Dreamcast, GameCube, N64, Virtual Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. I've been through all these ones before.
Right, where does this rank amongst those?
Honestly, I'm not seeing that much of a leap forward this time with regards to the graphical fidelity. It does look nicer, but the scotch nicer. I think in 2 years' time, when we look at what else they can bring in with the connectivity and how that's going to work, and hopefully it would be nice to play a game like Skyrim on Xbox One or PS4 or any Sony console and actually get it to work.
Yeah.
But have the entire world, every single aspect of it, explorable. Whereas, yes, I can go into every house. Grand Theft Auto 4, 5, when that comes to next gen, I want to pull up inside, outside a house and go and explore that apartment complex. And that's the sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing we want, and especially if they can perfect the the preloading and the streaming from the disc or whatever they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
That to me is that level of immersiveness. That's what could make David Cage's games really good. That was one of the problems I had with Heavy Rain, is that it was just again, I was standing behind glass.
Yeah.
I was looking in at the world. I couldn't really participate. And if the consoles can bring that in this next generation, that's going to be the big win for me.
Cool. For me personally, I'm excited for this next gen because it's the first one I've been a part of in a weird way. Previously, when the PlayStation 2 launched, I'd never seen any videos of the PlayStation 2 until I had it in my house. Only screenshots and magazines up till that point. And so just that newness is going to be way different. The newness will be seeing it at the GameTrailers office.
Yeah.
But it's fun to be on videos like this and complain about it and get excited about it. It's cool to be a part of that discussion, basically. And so I think that's a lot of where my excitement comes from.
I think I want to be in the office when the Xbox One arrives just to see your little face light up like Christmas.
For both of them. Xbox One has a lot of bad buzz, but I'm still excited to see it.
I'm looking forward to seeing them because I think the games industry, we need to move on. We need, again, this cycle, we need to start making money again, stop laying off developers. The indie stuff that they're doing on Sony and Microsoft for this next generation
really
is a lot, way more promising.
Yeah.
Self-publishing, set your own price, blah, blah, blah. That stuff is really cool, and how that's going to work and how they're going to execute, if they can nail it, that's when we can really move into the next generation.
Cool. All right, well, that is our discussion. That's our crossover, our combo. Thanks for watching. We're excited about next gen. Are you?